Hi everybody and welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. Today we're tuning the 2019 Ferrari, the number 62 488 GTE in the Forza GT series. So this is a car that was gifted through the car pack. So hopping into the performance and the tuning. So firstly we have to homologate this car. So going into performance, the restrictor plate is on the restrict airflow, so it lowers the power from 600 to 583. Engine stock, brakes are stock, no ballast, and the first tyre width for 310mm and the first rear tyre width for 325. Right, so let's hop into my first build, which is my qualifying setup. So this one is a lot softer than I would use in a race because we want as much grip as we can get. So the tyres are 28.5 psi front and 27.5 on the rear. These are the gearing ratios that I've opted for. Probably not the best, but they work for me. Gearing, this is the gear ratios that I use. A 3.68 final drive, giving a total of 176 miles per hour. And then these are the remaining numbers, so feel free to screenshot or pause the video. Alignments, I've gone for a negative 1.1 on the front and negative 0.9 on the rear, 0 front toe and a negative 0.1 rear toe, and the front cast is at 7.0 just to try and aid in slowing that turning down. Anti-roll bars, like I mentioned earlier, this car is very soft, so 14.04 on the front and 16.09 on the rear. Very bizarre, I do know. Just as things start to get weird, they're getting weirder. The springs are 431.2 on the front and 402.9 on the rear. Now, this ride height fluctuates significantly. So on Maple Valley, for example, when you have the final corner, which is that downhill fast kink, it's just max it out. It doesn't affect it too much, just max it out because otherwise you will ground out and you'll just end up in the wall. But for tracks that are a lot smoother, such as Silverstone, things like that, it's absolutely mustard. The max you'll need to go is minimum. So I've got it at 2.9 and 2.7. Damping, stiffness is 3.3 on the front and 3.6 on the rear. The rebound stiffness is 10.5 on the front and 12.0 on the rear. This car might wobble quite a bit, so just be careful. So to try and aid in that, especially turning wobble, as they say, I've opted for a higher roll center on the front at 3.9. But I've left the rear at 0, trying to negate mid-corner oversteer that it does have from the get-go. Anti-dive, I've left it at 0. I don't think it actually needs any. And the anti-squat is negative 10.4. Aero, the front is 276 pounds. I've maxed out the front aero. And the rear aero's at 340. The reason for this increase is I just could not get that back end to settle. No matter what I did, no matter what I tuned, it just would not seem to get rid of that mid-corner oversteer. So coupled with the 3.9 roll center height on the front and the 340 pounds on the rear, it does kind of straighten that car up mid-corner, but it does still allow for a lot of corner rotation, which you'll find out in the race. Braking force, the balance is at 50%. And the pressure is at 150%. And the acceleration is at 100%. And the deceleration is at 20%. So with the qualifying setup out of the way, let's hop into the race setup. So this one is a bit stiffer, but we've got tyres at 28.5 psi, 27.5 on the rear, so the same as the qualifying. The gear ratios have not changed either. Again, 368 final drive, these are all the same. The alignment, again, nothing's changed. Negative 1.1 and negative 0.9. 0 front toes, negative 0.1 and 7.0. The anti-roll bars are slightly stiffer at 18.03 on the front and 21.51 on the rear. Springs 609.6 on the front and 563.8 on the rear. Ride height is 2.9 and 2.7. Damping, the bump stiffness is 3.3 on the front and 3.6. Rebound stiffness, the front's 10.5 and the rear is 12.0. Suspension geometry again is the same, 3.9, 0.0, negative 0.1 and negative 10.4. Aerodynamics maxed out front again and 340 on the rear, or probably about a third. The braking balance is at 50% and the pressure's at 150%. Differential 100% on the front and 20 decel. This worked for me and I felt it was quite nice, but if you do feel like it is a bit snappy on oversteer, just drop this down a bit. It might help coming out, especially these slower corners, but it will aid in the stability exiting corners. So guys, there are my two tuning setups for this car, a qualifying one and a race one. I do hope you enjoy it. I do hope this makes this car a bit easier for you to use. Don't use this as a be-all end-all. This is just a base tune for you to then manipulate the numbers to make it match what you want. You know, you might want more understeer, you know what to do. If you want more oversteer, you'll know what to do. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're brand new. And as always, take care of yourselves. Stay tuned for more.
Let's go.